Welcome to Mindfully Integrative Podcast with your host, Dr. Damaris G. Mindfully Integrative is a podcast discussing ways toward mindfully incorporating integrative health into our lives. This podcast will have informative resources, fun topics, interviews, and discussions relatable for today with a true mindful perspective in a mind-body, holistic life approach.
Hi, how are you? This is the Mindfully Integrative Show, and this is Damaris Maria Grossman. And we have an amazing guest today, the owner of Heartland Elderberry Farms. And his name is Russell Carter. Him and his partner and his family have been doing elderberry since he was young. So, but his story, his farm, and what elderberry is. Maybe some of you don't know what it is. And why is it important? And why I'm a pretty big advocate as a healthcare professional, why you need it, especially during these times of the season, if it's winter time for you right now, and you can understand why people need it for their immune system. But you can go more into that. I know you can. So Mr. Carter, how are you doing?
Doing well. Thank you very much for having us.
I appreciate you being on the show. And, let's check in. So what is something that people don't know about you? They've never, couldn't find you on the internet, know about Heartland. What's that?
Oh boy, you can find anything on the internet these days.
Oh yeah. That is perfect.
So something that's really not heavily discussed is, apart from the elderberry farm that we own and operate, we also own a commercial beekeeping operation. And we've actually been doing that longer than we've been growing elderberries. We started the beekeeping operation about 10 years ago, and we run about 450 hives, which is a great complementary business for the elderberry, because our beekeeping business produces all of the raw honey that we use in our products. So
amazing. And it probably just makes the elderberry taste even better.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
And so first off, do you handle the bees, or have you used to handle the bees?
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
You do?
Oh. Yeah. My bee suit is definitely dirty. There's an old saying, don't trust a beekeeper that has a clean bee suit. But yeah, we definitely have help now. We've grown to a point where it's no longer a one-man operation, but there's a team of us now, but I'm definitely in there with them almost every day.
Oh, that's really cool. And where are you guys located?
So we are in northern Indiana.
Oh, and is it hard to do your farm in the colder months, or you just make it work during the
You can definitely raise bees in Indiana and overwinter them. They do just fine in colder climates. I mean, there's beekeepers, commercial operations in Canada even that are very successful.
Oh.
We do actually transport our bees by a semi down to Georgia in the winter time. It's a little easier for them to overwinter, for one, and then two, in February in South Georgia, it's already 80 degrees, right? So the spring buildup the beehives have happens much sooner in Georgia. So by the time they come back to Indiana, they're already really at full strength, ready to make honey. So.
Oh, that's so neat. Oh, that's really fascinating. Okay. So I need some honey, I need some elderberry, but let's kind of talk about what kind of got you to that point, actually, to want a business and a farm on this. So I'm assuming your family has had farms, but what made you get into this? I mean, this isn't something that the average person would be like, okay, that's fine.
Yeah, for sure. So it really did start with just the beekeeping business. As we kind of talked about just briefly before the podcast, we have been a big advocate of elderberries. Even as a kid, we were taking elderberries. My parents were doing it. Back then, growing up out in the country, we just foraged for the berries, right? They grow wild. Almost all over the country, they grow wild. So and there's a lot of folks still out there doing that, which is fantastic. Just going riverbeds, creek beds, just out in the country, you can find them growing in a lot of places. So that's kind of what spurred us to do it. And then as I kind of grew up and transitioned more into my adult life with my wife and our kids, we continued to give our family elderberry products. With that said, what is currently in the market is really I will call it an inferior product. And the reason why I say that, and you mentioned that you're a big elderberry advocate.
And I wonder and my stuff is probably junk compared to yours. Now I'm looking at it, I'm like, oh, it must be. It must be.
and we'll talk about it. So,
Yeah.
and listen, so I'm just an elderberry farmer. So like,
Yeah.
don't just take my word for this, right? So
Right.
like, and I tell everybody that we talk to, this is kind of an educational thing. There are different levels of potency when it comes to elderberry products, not just in elderberry syrup and the gummies and things like that, but just in how they're manufactured. So on the market today as a whole, about 95% of all commercially available elderberry syrups, whether you buy it at the grocery store, CVS, farmers markets, it doesn't matter. It's literally about 95%. The number one ingredient on the back of these labels is water.
Mm.
Okay, so it's like, why in the world would you add water to an elderberry syrup? And the reason is because nobody is growing elderberries. It is such a niche farming operation. There are only a handful of what I would consider commercial elderberry growers in the United States. It actually is on the rise, but there's still really, really sparse commercial operations out there. But you see elderberry syrups everywhere. There are literally hundreds, if not thousands, of small to medium to large elderberry syrup producers out there. Where are these berries coming from, right? There's not that many growers in the United States. So the answer is they have to import them. So they import them from overseas and they come as a dehydrated berry. Okay. So in order for you to make a syrup, the first thing you have to do is reconstitute that berry, which is why there's water added to it. The problem with that is a kind of a twofold thing. One, the level of reconstitution, that rate,
Literally waters it down.
yeah, there's no standard there. It's just like however much water that you want to add to your dried elderberries to reconstitute, that's what it is. So you end up with a pretty highly diluted elderberry syrup right off the bat. Two, during the dehydration process, you can lose up to 40% of the antioxidants and some of the nutritional value that's found in the elderberries just because they're dehydrating them. So
Mm.
it really what I said earlier, it's kind of an inferior product. If you're looking for a true full strength potent elderberry syrup, it has to be from fresh elderberries. If it's from anything, if it's from a dried berry, it's really not the best that you can get. So,
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
so so as I met my wife, we had kids. We kind of continued the tradition. We certainly during the cold and flu season, we gave elderberry products. But just like so many Americans out there, we're like, we want the best, right? We want to give our kids the best that you can get. And I remember as a kid making fresh elderberry syrup from fresh berries,
Okay.
and then tasting and looking at what was on the market, like, man, this is not that good. Like the taste isn't good. It's not fresh. And then diving into it kind of uncovered what was happening. Like, why does all these berries, like, why does all these elderberry syrups contain water? And then,
Oh, so you
it kind
found
of,
the real truth of it.
yeah, I just went down this rabbit hole almost of discovery on how is all these producers producing these elderberry syrups. So my wife and I do have some property, so we're like, just for personal use. About 6 years ago, we'd been doing the bee business. We had that raw honey. We've been doing that, and so it's like, hey, we have honey. Let's just plant a small planting for our family and we'll just grow our own elderberries. It was only about 50 plants that we planted. And immediately when we made our first batch after our first harvest, it was like we weren't even trying to sell it. It was like we were kind of giving it away to family and friends. And it was like, holy cow, like this is amazing in taste. The color differential between a dried berry and a fresh berry is pretty interesting. The fresh berry is dark purple, like it just looks like it's a fresh. The dehydrated berry is like a brownish color, and that actually is important because that color is an antioxidant that causes that color. So I think you lose that in the dehydration process. But it just was like kind of eye-opening. Like this is the path. Like if you're going to take an elderberry syrup, this is the process that we should be going through to make it. And every year since then, we plant thousands of elderberry plants on our property. And we have actually now other farmers working with us, working with Heartland to supply all of the fresh berries that we need for our products. So that is really how we kind of came to be. It was like, and I think that, you talk, a lot of people talk about starting a business just out of just something they wanted to do for themselves, and then realized that there was an opportunity there and there was a unique product that is currently not available. So it's just kind of been we certainly did not set out when we first planted our first berries. We did not set out to start an elderberry company. It
Mhm.
was just something. It was just something that came to be and was like, okay, this is something that we can kind of go after.
That's really fascinating. But I mean, it's obviously successful, but
Sure.
you definitely put a lot of literally heart into it. So you
Yeah.
do this day in and day out, but you've also, if by word of mouth, going, talking to people and letting them understand your product is better. It's not just, and then why is it better? Like, what's the
Yeah.
benefits of elderberry? Because some people don't understand that.
Yeah, for sure. So there are a couple things. One, there are compounds in elderberry that are only found in a handful of things, elderberry included, that will protect your cells against infection. So if you are taking elderberry, we'll even say through the cold and flu season, you are essentially protecting your body from from the incubation period when you come in contact with somebody that has the cold or the flu. So recent studies, they kind of prove what everybody has thought for generations, literally, that it does shorten the life of the cold and flu virus, or it stops it from happening altogether. So that is the main benefit for the cold and flu season. The second thing, and not a lot of people understand this, is that elderberry has one of the highest levels of antioxidants of any food out there. I mean, it is
Any
like
berry, any
of
berry.
any berry through
Wow, I didn't know that either.
it is through the roof. I mean, so there was a pushback in the early 2000s for blueberries, like, oh, you should eat blueberries, super high in antioxidants, and partially, I mean, that certainly is true, but that is something that was mass commercially available, right? You can commercially provide blueberries to everybody. So they were just kind of helping educate the consumer, like, hey, you should take blueberries because they're high in antioxidants. Elderberry has 3 times the level of antioxidants of blueberries. So, and that just never gets talked about because very, very few people are growing elderberries commercially.
Oh, so
So,
the use of it, and well, hopefully
yeah,
that'll, spring even more. But then you're gonna be very busy.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, right, exactly. So, and the antioxidants, as you certainly understand, antioxidants are so important for year-round use, really, because it helps remove free radicals from our body, and free radicals are the cause of so many issues, from chronic illnesses, I mean, to so many different things. So, having, taking something, a supplement like that is so high in antioxidant is really going to be beneficial for you.
I love it. And you have, so you do like the syrup, and you recommend to kids. Can kids also use it, or is it everybody pretty much?
Yep. So they because it does have that raw honey aspect of it, it is a one and up, right? So they did recently reduce that from a two on the raw honey from a 2 to a 1 year
Yeah, I think
age.
about one now. About one can
Yep.
tolerate the honey. Yeah.
Yep. So that we have that on our bottle as well. So it's ages one and up, and it can be taken daily, no problem at all. So yeah, we do the two main products that we carry are the elderberry syrups in several sizes, and then we also do sell 100% cold pressed elderberry juice in the bottle. So for those that want to incorporate just the elderberry juice in smoothies or whatever other beverages you want to
Mhm.
put in, or take a shot of it directly, we also offer that as well. Elderberry juice by itself is very, very tart. Okay, so it is
Okay.
not
Okay.
the sugar,
Almost like
the
like a cherry, like a very tart, because just having it without anything in it. Okay. But an
100%.
acquired taste. Okay.
Yeah, it definitely is. It's not something that a lot of people are going to enjoy drinking straight just because the level of sugars in it naturally are very low. So that is generally why it's made into a syrups with honeys and different things added to it.
But you're more doing it for the overall benefits when you're doing the juice. You're not doing it because, hey, this is like a fun, you're doing it because you're getting that quality
Yeah,
of it. I mean, the
that's
syrup
it.
too, but you're getting a little, maybe higher concentration or something.
Yeah, the elderberry syrup, it's north of 80% pure juice. So it is very heavy on the juice side, but The kids, for example, you would be pulling teeth to get the kids to take the elderberry juice straight.
Done.
Elderberry syrup, on the other hand, it is very, very, very good. So
Oh, that's great. Well,
wouldn't
I
be a
mean, I
problem.
think depending upon the person and what they need, that sounds really.
Yep.
So what additionally, was there any other health issues, or did someone in the family get pretty sick that made you kind of go in this route? And have you guys, for the most part, stayed pretty steady? Not that no one gets sick,
Yeah.
but have you
Yeah.
noticed
Sure.
your immune system is like, I mean, I definitely see when people do the vitamin C elderberry kind of
Yeah.
regiments on, they take that components, they don't get as sick. But I don't know, how is it for you, and what you, even just for a regular family or friends?
Yeah, we've been blessed as a family to not really have had any real medical issues
Right.
that kind of led us down any kind of journey of
Got it.
discovery to do elderberry. But certainly, truly one of the most rewarding parts of owning an elderberry business are customers coming. They write to us emails. I almost wish I would have had some on how fan I could have shared with you, but emails, phone calls, just when we meet people in person, if we're out and about, like at like educational events and things like that, where
Yeah.
we're talking about it, it's amazing. I mean, we've had people in tears coming to us saying like, "Thank you so much, like for what you're doing," and it's like, wow, that is really impactful. Again, we did not start out with the idea that we're going to start an elderberry business. It just kind of happens. So it's like, wow, to go from, kind of starting just from family use all the way to have people like we're literally crying in front of us, telling us their stories. It's like, that's pretty powerful. So it's been really, really
That's
cool.
beautiful. Like the
Yeah.
like the impact that you have to so many families, and that you're trying to, I mean, granted, we're unofficially, I'll say it builds immune system, but I mean, herbs work.
Yeah, yeah.
Back in the day, things do work, and that, I know they do work. So,
Yep,
and the fact that
exactly.
you're trying to make a good quality, and your family building something small to something great, it's amazing.
Yep. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, we're definitely enjoying the ride, and just we're at this point we're just trying to keep up with demand. We have planning sessions around here pretty much the entire fall. We're in, okay, where else can we plug in some more elderberries, and who else can we partner with to start up additional farms local to us that we can kind of, buy the berries off of them and things like that. So
Are
yeah,
you guys
it's been
in the
fun.
grocery stores yet, or no, not yet?
So we sell we are not in like any major retail chains
Right.
as of yet. We are certainly working
You will
towards
be
that.
though.
Yeah, we're certainly working towards that, and we have a couple different people out there trying to make that happen. But right now, we sell on our own website, Amazon,
Okay, great.
Walmart.com. Walmart.com does carry the product.
Oh, that's
Uh,
great. Oh, so that's big. Walmart's
yeah,
huge.
yeah.
It's not that big.
We've been on
Walmart,
Walmart.
Amazon, those are
We,
pretty big.
we've been on Amazon now for a couple of years. Walmart.com, we just got on a couple months back, and then locally here to the northern Indiana area, we do have 12 stores that carry the product. So
Okay, but well, I mean, I'll have your information and your website for
yeah,
those to reach out. What is your main website so they can go there at first?
yeah. So the website is probably the best, and I
Okay,
only say that because it is going to be the most educational.
great.
So we really, really spent a lot of time talking about the benefits of elderberry, talking about like why we're growing it versus buying dried berries and things like that. So if you want to understand more about what we've been talking about, the website is certainly the best channel for you. And that's just heartlandelderberryfarms.com.
Can you grow in the cold weather too, or is it only summers?
No, so yeah, elderberry grows, like I said, it grows wild. I mean, around the Midwest and almost every parts of the country, from Florida to Texas,
I don't even know.
Minnesota. Yeah, elderberry grows wild, and there are certainly different varieties. It would be hard pressed to take a Texas variety and transplant it in Minnesota, maybe, and have it do well. But there are different varieties of elderberry that do well. But yeah, we have no issues at all. They send up new shoots, so the elderberry plant. Actually, unlike the European variety, which is more of a tree, it actually has a central tree trunk. The American variety, which is what we grow, it sends up canes every year. It's very, very similar to a raspberry or a blackberry in terms of how they're grown, where
Mhm.
they send up new shoots every year, and then the berries grow off of those shoots.
I wonder, I mean, you would know more than I on this, the weather permitting like hot versus cold. Do you think the colder ones have more of a efficacy or like or stronger, like a stronger potency,
I
or
don't,
does that not even
I,
matter? Or is it depending upon where you are is what is, do you need to have or just elderberry in general, the potency is if it's done well?
I couldn't even answer that, to be
I wouldn't
honest
even
with
know.
you.
I don't know. I don't know.
It's, it's an interesting question. I don't know. I know that there are differences
Yeah.
in European varieties versus American varieties in terms of nutritional
Okay.
differences. I do know that, but as far as American varieties, I'm not sure
Yeah. I
exactly.
mean, probably not. I mean, I was just like, oh, it was a cold weather. It's probably
Yeah,
like major. Is it like even stronger on the bottom? I
yeah,
have no idea, but the potency
yeah,
must be amazing. So,
yeah. We grow 6 varieties of elderberries here on the farm, and so we have some that we'll go as far as Tennessee. So from Indiana. So we'll go as far as Tennessee that do really well in Tennessee. And then we also have some varieties that grow a
oh,
little
so
bit.
you have elderberry throughout the country.
So now they're all grown here on our farm,
Oh,
but
okay.
there's 6 varieties of elderberry that are grown in different locations.
Oh,
So
cool.
we're kind of doing that almost as an experiment to see like which ones provide the highest yield and which ones perform the best here. But I don't know. More than anything, more than the cold, it is the moisture. Elderberry they absolutely love moisture. You have to keep the ground really, really dry. So we get this question a lot. It's like, hey, I would like to plant a couple elderberry plants in my own yard, right? And we are an open book when it comes to that. And we would highly encourage any of your listeners or anyone that asks, like, yeah, go for it. It's not a hard plant to grow.
Hmm.
Uh, so that would be the couple pieces of advice. If you want to start a couple plants in your own yard, would be to one that grows in your region, right? So that would be the first thing. If you actually are lucky enough to go be able to go out in the country somewhere where you're at
Hmm.
and see an elderberry bush, take some cuttings and go put it in your backyard because
Oh gosh. I,
you
I
know that's
don't
gonna work.
I don't have a green thumb, so I would not be that person, but I'll
Yeah.
leave it to the expert, like leave it to you guys. I'm one where no, don't ask me to harvest any
Not gonna work.
of that.
Well,
Maybe a couple basil like herb things you might see me here and
yeah,
there, but I don't know. No.
yeah,
That
I
is not
got
my
you.
forte, but that's why I asked you.
Well, I tell you, it really is fairly simple. So it really starts with a cutting. So a cutting is nothing more than just a part of the cane that is dormant. So it grew all summer, and then as the winter approaches, it becomes dormant.
Mhm.
So whether you buy it commercially, online, or wherever, you're going to get it as a cutting. That's the way they come, and it could not be easier. When the ground is just done being frozen if you live in an environment where you get the winter. So like in March is our time when the ground temperature finally gets above freezing. You take this cutting and you push it in the ground. Done. It's that simple, right? Because that's all it needs. It will develop before it leaves out. It'll develop the root system. And then when it has the root system, the leaves will pop out as it warms up. And now you have an elderberry plant. The number one reason why elderberry cuttings fail in plantings is because they were either planted too late or they weren't getting enough water. Like maybe there was a really dry spring or something like that, and they weren't getting watered enough. So when they're in that stage, that cutting stage, and they're developing the root system, they cannot be overwatered. I mean, they could be underwater and they're just as happy. So it's like
Oh,
really,
interesting.
really
Wow.
that's the key.
Maybe
So
I could do. No, I don't think it's in my cards, but I just, I can't wait to try your product. And hey, maybe even you can even do indoor, what's it called? Those indoor farmings too. Like, and depending upon the weather, heard of those.
yep, for
Get yourself,
sure.
then you'd be even bigger. Then
Yeah,
you'd
right,
be all over.
exactly. Grow year round.
Oh yeah, exactly. That sounds awesome. I mean, I really appreciate you being on the show.
Yeah.
Is there another a tidbit of information or insight that you'd like to leave the audience before you go?
Yeah, I mean, it's so, like I said at the beginning of the podcast, like you guys don't know me from anybody, right? I'm just a co-owner of an elderberry farm. So if you are taking an elderberry supplement, all you have to do is just look at the back of your own label, right? It's that simple. Just look on the back of your own label. If the first ingredient is water, they're using a dried berry that's imported. The second thing is look at the rest of the ingredients because so many of them It reads like this: water, sugar, and then it's like, elderberry and then some other stuff, and then there's a bunch of preservatives at the bottom, right? So don't just take I think the term elderberry it is now getting thrown out there so much. People are catching on to it. You can't walk down a Walgreens or a CVS aisle right now without seeing the term elderberry on so many products, right? So I think they're just kind of tagging along with that, but there are levels of potency and there's levels of premiumness, I guess you should say.
Quality.
Yeah, quality.
Quality versus quantity. And,
Yep, exactly.
junk versus it's just, you get not even what we pay for it. When you're
Yeah,
look
that's
for
right.
good, you're
Yep.
going to get good. When you just want junk, and
Yep.
it's, that's
Exactly.
unfortunate.
If you're gonna take an elderberry syrup, that's something that you feel strongly about, just who wouldn't want the best out there, right? So just look at what you're currently taking and then compare it to somebody that uses a fresh pressed juice, and then make a decision from there.
That makes a lot of sense. Thank you so much. I really appreciate your time.
Yeah. No, you're welcome. I appreciate the conversation.
Yeah. So thank you guys for coming on the show, listening. Thank you for listening to Russell Carter and his Heartland Elderberry Farm and his little honey too. Not little, but his honey farm too. And I just want you guys to, understand the importance of it, especially as you get sick and you're trying to build up your immune system. It's a very important plant. So check out his website. It's on the show notes. And if you guys have any questions, reach out to him or reach out to me, and we'll, be glad to, give you all the answers and the info.
Sounds great.
So thanks, guys. And make sure you make it a mindful way each and every day. Thank you for listening to the Mindfully Integrative Show with Dr. Damaris Maria Grossman, family nurse practitioner. This podcast is for informational and educational purposes only and is not to substitute for professional medical advice, diagnose, or treat. Always consult your healthcare provider before making changes to your healthcare routine. Make sure to subscribe so you don't miss an episode. If you enjoyed our show, please support us by leaving a mindful review on Apple Podcasts or your favorite streaming platform. Interested in being a guest or more information? Email us at info@mindfullyintegrative.com. For resources mentioned in the show, visit our website at www.mindfullyintegrative.com. You can also connect mindfully with Dr. Damaris on her social media links found on the site. May your strength and peace guide you to find a mindful way every day. Namaste.